we've been rounding this past week, and we've rounded to the nearest 100, we've rounded to the nearest 1,000, we've rounded to the nearest 10,000. But today, we are going to do something that's not really harder, it's just different. We're gonna round to the nearest 10, but we're gonna do it out of a hundreds number, okay? And so what I always tell my kids, you know, I like to think of numbers as little people. So this guy, we're gonna ignore him, and it's gonna kind of hurt his feelings, so he's probably gonna put some teardrops. He's gonna cry because it's gonna make him sad, because he's gonna get ignored. Because if I had a problem that said round this number to the nearest 10, I know that I go and underline my target number, and 3 is in the tens place, so that's my target number. So I'm gonna make him sad, and I'm gonna cover him up and tell him he can't play or he can't come to the party right now. So then this becomes a pretty easy number. We just find out our boundary numbers for the tens place, and we know our low boundary number is always that same number. It's the freebie, they give us that one. So we know the low boundary number is 30. If I count up from that, 10, 20, 30, 40 is my next boundary number. It's the boundary number that's up. And halfway here would be 35, all right? So I look at this, I've got my boundary numbers, and then I look at this guy to decide if I round up or I round down. Well, I ask myself, is 36 bigger than 35 or less than 35? Well, in this case, I know 36 is bigger, so that puts me up to 40. So I go over here and go, okay, well, 36, rounded to the nearest 10, rounds to 40. It's closer to the boundary number 40 than it is 30. So hopefully that makes sense. But remember this guy, the one that we hurt his feelings and didn't invite him to the party? Now we get to go back and go, sorry, we were just kidding. Now you get to come to the party. So we stop and we bring him to the party, and he's happy. So let's do another one, because that's kind of hard. Let's do another one. Let's say we have 532, and our directions were around this number to the nearest 10. Well, we've got a hundreds number. So we're still gonna underline our target. Our target is the tens place, because we were told to the round to the nearest 10. All right, so remember what we have to do. We gotta hurt his feelings. Let's make him happy. Go cover him up. I just cover him up. It does hurt his feelings, but we're gonna cover him up. Then we've got to get our boundary numbers. Oh, I did the same one again. You know what, Miss Oliver's gonna do a different one. That's the same one. Let's do this. Okay, so this is the nearest tens place. So we're gonna round 62 to the nearest 10. So my boundary numbers, remember, the low boundary number is always the same as this number. We just put the 0 on it. And then 10 up from 60 would be 70. Then we want to think about halfway. Halfway between 60 and 70 is 65. That's our midpoint. That's important. All right, now we circle this guy right here, because he's the one that decides whether we go up or down. And we have to say, is 62 less than 65 or more than 65? And he is less than 65, so that's pointing to 60. So we can say that 62 is closer to 60 than it is 70. And then we can go back and say, just kidding, you get to come to the party. And we bring 5 to the party. And now we've rounded this number to the nearest 10, but we could never say that 562 rounded to the nearest 10 is just 60. So don't forget to go back and get your 100 and bring him to the party. But guys, if you'll cover him up and just round this like it's a tens number, it's really easy. Just round this, pretend you're just dealing with that, and then at the end, when you're finished, remember and bring your 100 to the party. Okay.